I'm so excited that you're here. If you are joining us right now, I would love for you guys to share the love across the interwebs. Let everybody know about this. This is going to be a really great show about Facebook groups because I've met Paul here at Momentum, Lou Mangello's event, and he gave a presentation on email and talked about his group. And I'm just like, I got to have this guy on the show. So I'm excited that we were able to make this happen. Paul is amazing. But I would love for you guys to, as we're going along to the show today, ask your questions. We want to make the show all about you. So ask your questions down below. And if you know of somebody who's like, I really want to have a Facebook group, or I really want to make my Facebook group better, this is the show they need to watch. So feel free to mention them down below, call them in to the show, even if they can't join us live. The replay will be in there interacting as well. So we'd love for you guys to join in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Grace.
and tell us if you have a Facebook group that you're running or a Facebook community that you've started or you'd like to get started. Drop those in the comments too, so we can help you. We can help promote those things as well. Because I'm part of some really great groups. I have to tell you that it is. I think if it wasn't for groups, I probably wouldn't be on Facebook anymore. But
yeah. So,
but
go ahead. I was going to say one of the things that we're doing that's really fun, and we're actually doing it live during the show today, is we are in Volley. And if you want to join our Social Media News Live space, you can go to socialmedianewslive.com/chat. And we're actually able to pull in questions. So I got some of my friends who asked questions today, and we're going to play their video during the show, which I think is a really cool thing that lets you do. It's like a call-in show, but video. And so we'll play those during the show. But if you'd like to be a part of that awesome group, make sure you guys go to socialmedianewslive.com/chat. You'll get in the Volley, and there's a little red button. Send us a Volley. You don't have to do a video. You can send us a text or just an audio message, and I would love to be able to connect with you over there. And in fact, we have some of our amazing people who are in that group. We've got Mr. Gary Stockton, who says, good morning from Huntington Beach. Gary, I saw you walking the other day. I thought that was looked really like you're having some good weather. So I hope you're having some good weather there now. Thank you for joining us again, my friend. And also we have our friend Brian from, he's in the UK. Usually he's in Barcelona, but so he's back in the UK. Brian, thank you so much. It's the evening, so thanks for joining us today.
And it's beautiful and sunny there, so he's back in the UK.
Yeah, which is amazing because usually it's raining. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything, but Ian will talk to me about that. And Sabrina says, hi, Sabrina. Hi, Sabrina. So glad you're here. It wouldn't be a show without you. Thank you so much for tuning in. And you need to join us on Volley. I think you'd really like it. So socialmedianewslive.com/chat. Come join us because I want to talk with Sabrina in our group. It'd be amazing. So we are going to start the show today with Paul. Thank you guys once again with joining us. I'm going to hit go on Amazon Live. And going to go on the podcast machine, and we will get started. Welcome to Social Media News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Grace Duffy, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on the world of social media.
And we have a fantastic guest today. Paul Gowder leads a Facebook group called Powwow Nation, and it has over 97,000 members. So we invited him to the show today to discuss all the ways that he keeps his community engaged, connected, and monetized. And we're going to talk about audio rooms. We're going to also talk about shop in groups, and also the new welcome page for groups as well on the show. So Paul, thank you so much for coming today, my friend. Excited that you're here.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate you having me. Community has been a part of our business since the beginning, so I'm excited to talk to people about that today.
Yeah. So if you don't know who Paul Gowder is, I'm going to introduce you to him because he is an amazing guy. I met him at Momentum, Lou Mangello's event, and was super impressed by all that he teaches and just him as a person. But he is the owner and founder of Powwows.com, and it's the leading online community celebrating Native American arts and culture for the past 25 years. So Powwows.com is the #1 resource for learning about powwows and Native American heritage. He's visited hundreds of powwows around North America, and he captures these events and publishes them to millions of viewers on his website and YouTube channel. And Paul is also a leading expert in community development, content creation, social media, and email marketing. And he's forged a successful path in blogging, live video, streaming, and podcasting. And he helps entrepreneurs navigate the successes and pitfalls of building an online business through his public speaking and consulting services. Once again, Paul, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. That was a good intro. Thank you.
Paul, I think it's really cool that you've created this group celebrating such a sometimes marginalized, sometimes misunderstood community. Can you tell us more about powwows.com and then also Powwow Nation?
Sure. So I had to go back. So I started Powwows.com in 1996. We have been around a long time. We just celebrated our 25th
Yes.
anniversary. And it was really an accident. I was teaching myself how to do web pages while in college. And when I threw up these pages about powwow, because that was something I knew about and I was involved in, I just threw them out there, not thinking anything about them. Within days, I started getting messages from people, and they wanted to, they were asking me questions, but they wanted to talk to other people that were powwow, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's other people out there on the web. How can we talk?" And so, really, from the beginning, powwows.com grew because of community, and we threw up forums in the early days, and that's where the community came from. So when social media and Facebook and all this came about, it was a natural transition for us to go from forums that we hosted to Facebook groups. So Powwow Nation is one of our groups. We actually have 3 groups on powwows.com. But Powwow Nation is our main group, and that's just a place for our community to come and interact with each other and talk. And we get posts from all kinds of things, whether it's powwow related or not. But that is really the hub for where our community is right now.
So what is your connection to the First Nation Native American community? How did you get into this?
Yeah, so it's not something I grew up knowing about. It wasn't until
Mhm.
college that I really started doing the research and found out that I am a descendant from on my father's side, and then I had friends that were into the powwow world, and they brought me in and taught me, took me some of the powwows and taught me how to do make the outfits and everything like that. So I started dancing in the early '90s and traveling to powwows. So unfortunately, I don't get to dance and participate as much anymore because I'm behind the camera, but I still enjoy, we get to as many powwows as we can. Unfortunately, I've only been to one in the last 2 years. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
2022, we're going to be back at more powwows this year.
So
Are they
what's
starting back up? Are they doing more of
Yeah,
them now?
yeah, they are
Yeah.
back in a big way. Yeah, so I'm excited to be back at them in just a few weeks.
So can you describe maybe a little bit of what, is it a small event or is it like thousands of people come? Can you kind of explain to people who don't know what a powwow is?
Sure. Yeah. Good question. So powwows, they happen all over the US and Canada, and they are just celebrations. So if you're from down here in the South, any small town in the South has a festival, whether it's the sweet potato festival or we have an okra strut here near me. There's always some kind of festival, and powwows are like that. They are a festival, a celebration. They have them, whether it's sometimes some tribes have them an annual homecoming. Some people will schedule a special one for an anniversary or a birthday. Some of them have in memory of something that happened. And now with casinos and other big money coming into some of these tribes, there's contest powwows. So we on our calendar on powwows.com, we normally list 12 to 1300 a year, and that's not all of them. That is as many as we can find and capture. So they are literally all over the place, and they range in size from a few dozen people to the one I'm heading to in a few weeks in Albuquerque. They'll have over 3,000 dancers, and somewhere in the neighborhood, in the past, we'll see what after COVID is done, but 100,000 people actually at the event. So they range in size and but they're all over. And so they are, not only are they a celebration of culture, and you see the dancing and the singing at the powwow, but they're also like these other festivals that I'm talking about, and here in the South, but you've got the food and you've got crafts, and sometimes you'll have special concerts and other things going, other kind of talents being shown. So it's really an immersive experience of all types of Native culture.
That's awesome. Now I want to go to one. So that's really cool. I don't think I've ever been to one. That's really awesome. By the way, I wanted to go ahead.
I was gonna say, let me make sure that if you're interested, powwows are open to anybody. They are welcoming for all visitors. Whoever you are, you're welcome to come and attend the powwow and spectate and participate. Go and eat the food and shop at the vendors. That's what they're for. They are really a showcase for Native culture to show others what's going on. So yeah, go find one. There are hundreds and hundreds of them. So there's one somewhere close to you.
And so the best way to find one would be go to powwows.com and look at your schedule, and that would be the best way?
Yep. Powwows.com/calendar. And we also have a resource if you're new and want to know more about that, powwows.com/powwow101. That's kind of our what to expect at your first powwow. Yeah, so that'll really help you if you're interested. Well, of course, just shoot me a message if you have questions. I love helping people go to their first powwow and really experience this. It's something, if you've never been, it's hard to explain what you're going to see. You're seeing traditions that are hundreds of years old mixed with contemporary art and techniques. So it's really cool to be able to go and see that in person.
Awesome. Well, Lynn has this. Lynn Marie says this. She goes, I grew up in New Hampshire at the home of Dartmouth College, and my favorite was looking for events each summer was the annual powwow, being awed by the costumes, hypnotic music, and dancing, just all this stuff. She is a big fan of that. So thank you for that comment. Yes, yeah. Now I'm excited. I'm gonna have to find one. I'm sure there's some around here. So.
Well, Catherine Lang also said the Native American Festival in Moundville, Alabama, is amazing. So she endorses that one as well.
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, and our friend Sabrina says, she goes, I used to attend many powwows when she lived in Ohio. So very, very cool. I know Sabrina is now in New York. So that's really cool. Sabrina, thank you for letting us know. So before we get started too deep in the show, I want to make sure that we do a shout out to our friends over at Ecamm who sponsor the show. You can find out more about social media Ecamm by going to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. I know Paul uses it. They just rolled out a brand new update. Version 3.1.1, I think, just came out. I saw when I started today. So they've got some really cool stuff with a virtual mic, brand new overlays, and some transitions. So if you are on a Mac and you want to do live shows or even presentations or even record your TikToks, you can do it with Ecamm. It's an amazing program. Make sure you guys go to socialmedianewslive.com/Ecamm. So let's go right into this, Grace. And we're going to be talking about, managing a Facebook community, because Paul's got one over 97,000. There's got to be some management stuff some tricks that he can let us know about. But I'll let you go ahead and just kind of introduce what's going on, because there's a lot of stuff that's been happening recently in the Facebook groups. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So yes, today we are talking about Facebook groups and Facebook communities. So Paul, you established your group on Facebook, Powwow Nation. It said 2016, even though you've been doing this for the past 25 years. And as my friend Jeff here just mentioned, it has grown to over 97,000, and it's actually nearing 98,000. Let's not be humble here. It is almost 98,000 people. That is a massive group. So of course, 2019, Facebook kicked off F8, its annual developers conference, by rolling out changes to groups, saying that it is now the center of the Facebook experience, as well as rolling out new ways that Facebook was supposedly going to help people use groups to bring people together offline. So obviously, a lot has happened since 2019. Global pandemic hurdled the adoption of live video and push us deeper online. There's been a rise of social audio. We're going to talk a little bit about your use of audio rooms in your groups. There's competing platforms. Also, there's also just more raised awareness about different things happening online. Different cultural, political, generational divides, all happening on Facebook. And then, of course, Facebook is now Meta. So we do have a question from one of our friends, Ian Anderson Gray, about where you see Facebook groups going. Do you see it continuing to be a strong area in light of all of these shifts? So I'll let Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff. I'm really excited about this episode on Friday. So my question is, if you're starting a community from scratch, would you focus on Facebook? It seems to me that it's a lot more difficult to grow a Facebook group right now. And also, depending on where your audience is, my audience are like split over everywhere. LinkedIn, there are some of Facebook, Instagram. So is Facebook, a Facebook group, the best community place? What would you, and how do you do that? How is a good way to actually start and get that engagement right from the word go? Because it is difficult.
Yeah, he's right. It is difficult, and your community is probably spread all over the place. For me, I still think Facebook groups are a really strong place to go. Facebook still has a very large footprint and tons of people still on the platform. I know there's lots of things going on, and people are wondering if they can trust all the things Facebook does, and I get all that. but they still have a ton of people. And what they're doing with their groups and building in the groups into more organically seeing things in your feed, pushing more of the content out from groups. There, with that focus on them, when Facebook focuses on something, we should probably pay attention, and that's probably where we want to at least spend some of our time. So for me, it's still a valuable resource, and I still see growth in our group. Starting a group from scratch, that is tough. And I think it's tough on any platform when you start from scratch. So it's still a matter of, you're going to have to create good content. You're going to have to find out who your audience really is and create content for them. And as my friend Lou Mangello always says, put out the content that you want, and you'll find your group, and they will come to you. It may take a little more time now with as spread out as people are, but yeah, I still think Facebook groups for me is still a very valuable resource.
So real quick, do you ever get like reluctance or hesitation, or actually people like pushing back on your Facebook group? Like, why are you using that? I don't want to be on Facebook. Because like BuzzFeed reports that, people are spending less time on Facebook, because of the competition with TikTok and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So, they even said that their daily users are down this quarter, it's still 1.93 billion, but still, and people are critical of Facebook. So what do you tell people who say, I'm not on Facebook, so I can't be in your part of your group?
I get that a lot, especially around, so one of our other Facebook groups is we have a buy, sell, trade group where people can come and post their crafts or things they're making, whatever. And that group is really active. I think we have 50,000 members in there. But a lot of times when I'm promoting that in our newsletters and on the website, people do come to me and like, oh man, I really want to, I saw that picture you posted of this beadwork. I'd really like to go buy it, but I'm not on Facebook, and I'm not going to join Facebook just to go shopping. And I get that. But it is an easy tool for us to allow people to post their items for sale in a really easy way. So, that's the two sides of it. People are reluctant and hesitant to come, but Facebook makes it so easy. Right. That's hard. But I still find for me, the people that are hesitant or reluctant are still less than the number of people joining those Facebook groups. So for me, I'm still seeing more growth and as opposed to the reluctance.
Gotcha. So, and Sabrina goes, preach it, Paul. Speaking my love language, community management. So she is all for this. Grace, I know you had a question too.
Yeah, I have a question. I'm going to bring up Andrew Kavanaugh. I hope I said that right. His question. He says he's a large group where he would get about 3,000 new members a week. That's amazing, by the way. And out of nowhere, growth has come to a crawl. Why do you think this would have happened? And how do I get the growth back again? I love that question, because I think, going back to Jeff's point about like maybe usage has slowed a little bit. It hasn't slowed that much. So let's talk about how to gain more of that momentum.
Yeah, that's wow. That would be amazing to have that kind of growth, and then tank. That's it'll be shocking. So first thing I would do is try to figure out where that growth was coming from. If it was one particular post that was just being promoted by Facebook, or maybe some other group was promoting you or cross-referencing some of your content, I try to go find where that happened. And make sure you have your group settings turned on. Facebook really wants your groups to be public right now. And if you have your groups public, there are now they're taking comments and posts from your group and posting them on people's feeds, even outside of your group, depending on, what that person's algorithm is or whatever. So make sure your group is public and you have all those features turned on, and Facebook's going to help you promote the group. So that would be first thing. I would go check your settings, make sure you didn't restrict something, and not letting Facebook really get in there and promote your group. Wow, that's an incredible growth. I hope shoot me an email. I'd be happy to help you look into that too.
So this is a great question from our friend Gary Stockton over on YouTube. He goes, it's a tricky time to host groups. How do you encourage dialogue but avoid political rants? Because I want to talk about, what makes a Facebook group a good community, a resource in a place where people want to be. And, if you have a bunch of trolls in there, or people are dumping in like this political stuff or fake news or whatever, that can really, dampen your group pretty quickly. So what do you do about that, Paul?
That is tough. And with the nature of my group, there are sensitive topics. There are very politically charged topics, and people are very passionate. We're talking about a racial issue. Not all the powwows go down that road, but there are racial issues in our group. So we have it. It happens all the time. You probably on a daily basis will have something happen. And yeah, for me, what we try to do is we're heavy-handed. If we see a post getting out of control, we do not hesitate to cut off comments or ban people, suspend people.